Hello everyone, my name is Kevin Hand. I am going to be going through a tutorial with you on how to move a character around in a 3D space in Unity. Let's just start off by starting a new project. Oops. File, new project. I set mine to my desktop. And I'm just going to call it character tutorial. And in 3D, and make sure none of these are checked, and we will hit create. I'll save that one. Alright, okay. To get started, let's start off with a plane, so our character has something to walk around on. We're going to go over to Game Object, 3D Object, and we will create a plane. This is a little small for testing, so let's make the plane, let's change the X scale value to 5 and the Z scale value to 5. That should be plenty large enough. Make sure these are all set to 0, the position X, Y, and Z. Now we are going to create a capsule that we will use as our character. Again, you're going to go over to Game Object, 3D Object, and select the capsule. When that's there, you'll notice now it's like halfway through the floor. So make sure, again, position X, Y, and Z are 0. And we're going to actually raise, you can set Y to 2 just to pull it out from the ground. And if you'll notice here, it's actually a little above the ground, which is fine for this case. Once we start, it'll drop down to the ground once we add a little sort of gravity to it. For our next step, I guess let's add some light. Let's go to Game Object again, go down to Light, and we're just going to do a directional light for now because it's simple and it covers all we need to for this case. Alright, so we have that set up. We have a light and we have our character who is a capsule right now. Okay, so we are going to, really quick, add a camera to our character. I am going to use a camera from the assets. You go to assets, import package, and you go to scripts. Here you will see a list of things you can import that are already done by Unity. I'm going to select none and then only select the one called Smooth Follow JS. And then I'm going to hit import. So when that's done, you'll notice here your assets folder is populated. You'll have standard assets, click that, then scripts, then camera scripts, and in here you'll have smooth follow. And we're simply just going to drag this up here onto the main camera. So now when you click on main camera, you should have smooth follow here. And if we want this to follow our character, simply select our character. Right now it's named Capsule. And drag it right here into target. There we go. Okay, so now we have everything set up and we can begin to set up our character controller. So select your character, the capsule, and hit add component. And I was already typing this earlier, so in the search bar here, you're just going to want to type character, and right there you'll see character controller. Select that, and it adds it right here into your list. Now, in order for your character controller to do anything, you're going to need a script, and the way I do that is I go to add component, and if you had that up, it should be right here under new script. And for name, we'll call this script player controller. And I'm going to use C# for this example. Create and add. So now it has added a script here that is empty. So go ahead and double click on player controller. And it should open MonoDevelop in C#. Alright, so once you have MonoDevelop open, the first thing we're going to want to do is establish that this script is only for a character controller. So what we're going to do is right here above public class, we're going to type require component and then type of character controller, and then we're going to close all that off right there. And what this does is it attaches to the script a requirement that it will only work when it's tied to something that is declared a character controller. Okay. Now for the actual code, I'd like to get rid of these. We're going to put in 3 variables. For the first one, public float, we're going to call it speed. Let's capitalize it. And then we're just going to set it equal to 5 right now. Then public float, and let's go with rotate rate. This one is going to determine how fast our character will turn, which will be important when trying to walk around. We'll just set it for 10 right now. And for our third one, we are just going to set up our character controller variable, and we'll call it CC. Alright, so that's all you need to get started. Now, we're going to go down to the start function. Anything in the start function is going to be launched right when you start your game or your animation. So, we're only going to put one thing in here, and that is our character controller. We're going to set CC equal to get component character controller, and then you're going to close that off with parentheses, and that's it. That's all we need there, and all that's doing is setting our variable CC to a character controller component. So now where we're going to put most of our code does stuff is in update. Everything in update is going to be constantly called and repeatedly, and this is important, well, necessary for moving and various other animations and such. So first thing we'll need is cc.simplemove physics.gravity. Now, the only thing here that we have created is CC. This is the only thing we've done. The rest of this here is stuff that's built into Unity, and they all have certain functions. Now, when you're going through your code in the future, try to avoid using a lot of these same names for your variables and such. Okay, now the important part here, vector 3, and we're going to call it fmove, forward movement. So what I call it equals input.getAxis, and we're going to call it vertical. Well, we're not calling it that, that's the name of it. I'll explain this in just a moment. Times transform dot transform direction vector 3 dot forward times speed. That's all one line of code, one big line of code there, and what this is going to do is allow us to move our character forward. So what this does is vector 3 is just declaring that it's getting from X, Y, and Z, it's a 3D, and I've named it forward move, and input get axis means it's going to get the input of the vertical axis. Now, if you go into Unity and you go to edit and project settings input, you see your axes here. Let's drop that down. So now if you go to vertical, this is your vertical axis. This is these are determined from your down and up buttons, also your S and W buttons. So when you're getting this, it's coordinating with these keys. Let's go back to the code. Alright, so transform direction of your vertical axis, which is your Y, and you're going to move that forward at a rate of speed. Okay, so in our next line, let's go with CC, the character controller we made, and move, and let's go with F move, the one that we had just made, times time delta time. Now what this time that delta time is it'll update it at a rate that is reasonable for moving, and otherwise if you had just done it without it, it would be way too much, too fast. So alright, so now let's try out what we have here and see what happens. Make sure you save your work, file save. So right now I have this here, and I can move forward and I can move backward. So that's what we have done so far. And that's not very useful. So let's go back to the code. Okay, so that's what this does. So it says move forward and backward. Remember I told you earlier, vertical was the up and down keys. So that's all we have set so far. So now we can move forward and backwards, but we can't turn. So let's set up how to turn. So we're going to go here right underneath cc.move, and we are going to type transform.rotate, rotate, and then we're going to set up new vector 3, and here we go. We're going to set up for our x-axis, we're going to set it to 0. Then for the y-axis this time, input dot get axis, and we're going to set this one to horizontal. So this one will use the keys assigned to horizontal, which are A, D, and left and right arrow keys. I'll show you that in Unity in just a moment. We're going to multiply that by the rotate rate, which we set up earlier as one of our 3 variables. We set it equal to 10. We'll see how that works out when we try it. And then we're going to multiply that again by time.delta time. And for our z, we're going to set it to 0 because that's not needed here. So let's close that off, end the line of code, and let's save that code. Let's go into Unity and let's try our scene. So we can still move forward and backward, and we can turn. So now you see you can turn. It has a little bit of a delay effect to catch up, but we can fix that. So let's end that right there. So now if you want to turn faster, one quick way to change that is here in our inspector right here. The variables we typed in, speed and rotate rate, are now in our controller script here. So let's say we want to make our person walk faster and we want to rotate much faster. Let's see how that works out. So it's good to mess around with these numbers a little bit, see what you want. So now when I turn a little bit faster and I move a little bit faster here too, and that's a little more enjoyable. So now if you want to change this gliding effect on the camera, see how that go now, and it kind of keeps resetting, you can go over to, again, edit, what we saw earlier, project settings, input, and you can change the gravity here. So changing the gravity on the horizontal will affect your camera speed. So let's set it to just a plot number. Let's set it to 10, and then we won't touch the vertical for now. So now when I rotate, it kind of just stops right away, or it's a lot more exact. So mess around with those numbers and find out how you would like them. Alright, now for the extra bit of code I'm going to put in here, I'm going to show you guys, it's very simple, how to add a function that will allow you to run at a higher speed while you're holding down the shift key. So I'm going to put this up here and just put these in 2 separate little boxes here. Let's start if the input of a certain key is down, and that key is the left shift key, we are going to let's do this the right way. We're going to set our speed equal to, let's say, 20. So we can see a noticeable difference here. And let's close that off. Oh, it put it back for me anyways. Okay. So, and then we also have to set up a way to stop it. So if the other command, input dot get key up, this will occur when we let go of the key, when we are going to set it to the left shift key, of course, again. Now speed equals, and let's make sure you set it back to the value saved previously, 5, and close that off. And oh, what did I do here? Key code. Alright, now let's save that. And let's open up Unity and give it a shot. I'm here, I'm moving normally, and shift moves faster, much faster. There we go. And that's how you do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. I hope it was helpful. And if you have any other questions, the PDF might be extra helpful. It's in depth. And thank you.